But money, I need like 2 weeks, need stacks, big and green. I call my pocket the new hope. We don't pay attention to no loose talk. Shoot that top 100 times, I had to let it cool up. Basing on me doing a moonwalk. Came with my AP, I had to let it cool up. Almost died from the money, I had to take my dues. We don't hurt with these niggas, we just let them tools talk. Get your bitch and give her back, now she yours again. Back to back in Ferrari, you stay horse playing. Run up on the Sunday morning, go ahead, corpse in. I'm student doing my taxes, I got dark grams. I put rings on them, bitch, I'm married though. You see my niggas money and I every year on them. We take each other hoes, we don't cherish them. But we don't got that info, we can't embarrass them. Can't leave the country, but I got my piece of money. These niggas talk, but see me, y'all ain't on nothing. I'm in the store, I need a perk, go get the runner. You got sugars, I got hundreds. You got 20s, I got hundreds. Like, too much money, I need like 2 weeks, checks. And I call my money. We don't pay attention to no loose talk. Shoot that 100 times, I had to let it cool up. Diamonds dancing on me doing a moonwalk. Came with my AP, I had to let it cool up. I was bad from the money, I had to take my tools. We don't hurt with these niggas, we just let the tools think. Wire 200 to easy get my ice here. You niggas plastic, y'all, let's read the spuds right here. Niggas say, got that, don't know what the price is. I don't drink this for sale, we got fights in. We got check in, we got act in. 4 5 bullets down in that mag in. They don't take none of the song pack. It's a problem when you see.
All right. Levels of mastery. We're gonna get started in about 2 minutes. We're just getting everybody time to join. Get everybody a quick little moment. All right. Welcome to Levels of Mastery. Okay. Everybody got 3 minutes. 2:05. 2:05. We'll get started. Okay. All right, everybody, welcome to Levels of Mastery here on IMC TV, YouTube live stream, right? This is the one of a kind live stream hosted by myself, Master Pyro. All right, now today, I want to go through a few things really quick. Of course, first thing is first, everything J Guru Dev, to all those that came before me that I've been able to learn this astonishing knowledge that has become more than knowledge. It's experiences, right? And that is the most that is the most valuable thing of life, is experiences. It is how we are experiencing our life. It's not the money we make. It's not necessarily the job that we do and things of that nature. It's the experience of what we're doing and how we're doing it. And that's what I'm here to share on. I'm here to share one of the most valuable things that I know human nature has is experience. I'm here to share my experience and the wisdom that I have behind my experience, of the knowledge that I've obtained to be able to orchestrate the lifestyle that I've been creating and I've been living in. And one thing that's very important about this is that it comes from a lineage. It comes from a group of men that has studied and shared their philosophy on how they chose to combat life, if you will, how they chose to create life. And I've studied those individuals, and one that I have in real time, his name is AZD, Arash Sapardibazar. And to know what I know, to fully understand what I'm saying and what I'm doing here on live, you must learn from him, because he is the source behind, the teachings or the understanding that I have, right? And with what he talks about, what I talk about, comes revelations, and it only points you to a direction, but it helps you get a better character out of life. And I want to make sure that it's tracked down properly. So, of course, tapping in with my mentor, AZD, Arash Sapardibazar, he has a program that goes on every day at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. It's called Midday Gospel, right? And that session is every morning for me in my time, in California time, that's in the morning. It's the most powerful way you can start your day, is having those languages that helps you put you on track and what you need to do in this life. And of course, he has advanced teaching that you have to figure out how to get about. And I'm in that group. When it comes to him and his teachings, I'm in that group of advanced teachings, right? That has been very consistent for the last 4 years, 3 years. 4 years, 2019. So we're currently in 2023 in this recording this video. So I've been studying with him very consistently at that high level. And I'm doing my due diligence of being, somebody that has studied life at a high level and sharing what it is that has saved me, or has redirected what it is that I'm doing in this lifetime, and drastically. And I have to share that with individuals, because I know that's what everybody's looking for, because I was looking for that at a very deep level, even though I wasn't really putting it out there or communicating or telling people about it, right? And but I'm here now. I'm able to communicate these ideas and concepts, and we're gonna go straight into it. Right? First things first, I'm gonna go off of what I was talking about on my live stream. So if you follow me on Instagram, this is my Instagram. All right. Masters is something I do pretty much every morning here. This is very important, because I'm gonna stem off of what I talked about there. And what I talked about on Morning Mastery this morning was the difference between civilian and non-civilian, and how is that even a category? And I'm gonna break down where I'm coming from when you understand this concept of civilian and non-civilian. Or we can even use other words like average and above average, right? We can use different ways, but let's just stick to those two right now, right? Civilian and non-civilian. Well, I'm coming from a military standpoint when we talk about civilian, because I used to be in the military. And I never understood that when I went into the military, like, okay, I'm no longer a civilian. I'm like, this is weird. But it's the language we're talking about. What they mean by that is that you're now a soldier. You're not a civilian, meaning your standards of life is higher than the average man that's walking in the land that you're protecting. You have to carry yourself as that, actually. And that actually dictates the character of a soldier, right? And that was very interesting to me. And there's a lot of things that I've learned during basic training and being in the military. And one thing that I learned in particular is that, okay, what separates a civilian and a non-civilian, and just in that aspect of the military, is the order of operations. See, the military has an order of operations. Now, this is extremely powerful because this is the knowledge that I've extracted from the military. I joined the military to learn the military state of mind, to learn why is the United States Army so fucking powerful. So I took the tools that they taught me to become a soldier, and I'm sharing it with you guys right now, so you guys can start seeing this another level of power that is available. So in the military, like I said, there's something called civilian and non-civilian. And what makes you no longer a civilian in the military world is the order of operations that you stand under, or that you stand on, I should say, is better. The order of operations you stand on. So a civilian, their order of operation is average. It's what everybody does. Wake up, work for this person, work for that person, do this, do that. And it's the same cycle. It's not the same state of mind. Versus the military, there's an order of operations. You must meet certain standards, right? You must be able to run the 2 mile under a certain amount of time. You got to be able to do X amount of push-ups in 2 minutes. You got to do a certain amount of sit-ups within 2 minutes. If you cannot do it, you cannot be in the military. Or depending on, just certain criteria that lets you override certain things. But overall, to get in or to be somewhat established, you got to meet those requirements. If not, you're not a soldier. See, a civilian, they cannot do that and still be a civilian. That makes a distinct difference. So when I got out the military, and of course, as somebody that doesn't want to continue doing like the same lifestyle, you naturally want to be like, man, I'm not doing the same shit anymore like I was doing in the military. Like, I'm not going to be waking up early and doing this and working out like that and whatever the fuck it is. But then I started realizing, like, damn, I'm literally reverting back to a civilian. I'm literally reverting back into a civilian. And that's something that I started seeing, okay, so I'm going back on my standards, right? And when you go back on your standards, when you go back on your standards, that's what continues the same cycle that a lot of civilians are still doing. So another thing that I learned in the military that helps you stay separated from the average. So what we're talking about, the main thing we're talking about right now is how to separate yourself from the average. And I'm using things that like I said, I learned from the military. Because what's very important about that is you have to be able to see for yourself. You have to be able to see for yourself that when you are engaging in certain activities to build a certain level of character to accomplish something, you have to be able to see, okay, what are the order of operations I'm doing on a day-to-day to achieve a certain level of standard daily? Because in the military, you can't get away from it. You have to meet them. There's literally tasks, or literally operations that you got to accommodate and you got to do month to month or every season, if you will. Like, you have to maintain that standard. So that means every day that you're living, you're more mindful of what you're doing because you're aware of a standard. It's a higher standard. These things keep you above average or above a civilian, because a civilian can go to work and not do that and still be a civilian. But a soldier can't do that. Someone that's above a standard can't do that. And when you have higher standards, that keeps you at that frequency. So, okay, so so your order of operation is going to dictate whether you're going to be a civilian or above a civilian, or above average, another word for that. So what are another thing that I learned in the military about staying sharp, basically staying sharp in a part of it. So one thing is that being on time for your life. So basically every time you had to be in formation, every time you had a meeting with like a higher up or things of that nature, you had to be there at least 10 minutes prior. right? 10 minutes before the time. You have to reach there before you meet the person you're going to talk to on time. Like, it's almost disciplinary if you're late, because you're the one that needs the opportunity from the next individual that's a higher up that's going to help you with that. It doesn't make sense to be there after them. And that's major. That's major. So, because a lot of people, man, I mean, listen, I do photography, I do a service, right? I can't tell you how many people show up late to the stuff that they booked me for. They pay me money for my time, and they're willing to pay me more for it. So that's intense. Because when I say that's intense is because people, how many times, even for myself, this is something that I had to work on myself, as far as just staying true to myself in my own time, my own word with time. And I started seeing that the more I was congruent with my word in time, I noticed that life treated me a little different. A lot more different when I kept on saying, yeah, I'll be there in 10, knowing I won't be there in 20. Now, of course, there's time where things naturally run late. Things naturally happen, right? Sometimes things do happen, right? Things come up or whatever. But what I'm saying is that that's not the practice, though. The practice is not doing that. People practice doing that, not even aware of doing that. And that's very interesting, because then you start seeing that, okay, people are wondering why time is treating them a certain way, when they start seeing that, man, they've been treating time a little different as well. So being early or being on time to what you're creating, or what appointed time you have for your movement in your day. Another thing they have is called staging. Sorry, somebody's trying to join. Okay. There's another thing in the military called staging. So right now I went over I went over one thing, is that the military has an order of operations. That's number one. So you gotta know that. You gotta know what's your order of operation. When you wake up in the morning, what's your order of operation? Also known as a morning process. But that is an operation, and there's an order to it. Because if you don't have that, and the bells ring, and it's time to grab your shit and go out there and fight and defend your fort, or defend your company, or defend your platoon, and you don't have your bullets in your fucking magazine, or you got crumbs on your book bag, and your shit's halfway open, and you grab your shit early 4 o'clock in the morning to go defend your shit's falling out, you failed your whole platoon. But how many people's life is like that, by failing to have an order of operation to make sure things are lined up? And sometimes they only do that only under certain circumstances, but that's not what they practice. And that's what I'm getting at. That is a practice in the military. And that's what's separate. And these are things that I continue doing that separates me from an average. So we said order of operations, being on time, right? Being on time. In the military, you got to be 10 minutes before. Like, that's the standard. Don't be on time. You're late. The saying is, you're late if you're on time. You're on time if you're early. Right? Okay, so that's another practice. The third practice I'm going to talk about is something that's called staging. This is big. So staging is something that you prepare for the next day. So for example, if I know tomorrow I got formation at 04:30, I got formation, I will stage my uniform, I will stage my weapon, I will stage whatever I need to bring to formation. It's already staged, it's already put together. I'm already prepared for the next day, for the next activity. So preparing for the next activity, being already ahead of the next step. And the best way to program that or to process that is to have an order of operation. Now, of course, there's going to be things here and there that's going to pop up and all that. We're not talking about that. We're talking about having these concrete checkpoints throughout your day, throughout your week, throughout your time schedule, what you're doing, so you can hit the points a lot more direct. This is even applied in networking as well. That's for another conversation, but you got to get these concepts first so we can apply it to networking and building business, whatever it may be. All right. All right. So those are the 3 points. I'm gonna go ahead and take a quick little break. If anybody wants to take a quick moment and ask any questions or anything I spoke about or anything you want me to elaborate on or things that didn't make sense, things of that nature, go ahead and open up the floor for about a minute. And then get ready to close it out on my next topic. All right, cool. All right, cool. So I want to show. Let's see. So for those that don't know, I have an event going on at the end of this month with AZD, right? It's going to be a very phenomenal event because the winner, the model that's going to win, she's going to be winning, I believe, $500 this time instead of $300. She'll be winning $500. She'll be having an opportunity in the next music video, and she'll be getting a photo shoot by Paradise Vixens as well. So there's a lot of stakes there, and of course, you know, I'm going to be producing a video. I think they just released the promo video. I just sent it to them today. So that's officially out. Most likely they'll talk about it in the advanced camp tonight. But, you know, I'm excited for that because this is the first event that I'm doing that I'm I'm headlining, if you will, right? And I have motion going on with it. I'll also be having a guest. I'm also doing promotions. That's another big thing. I have a 30-minute slot to be able to promote any company that's willing to pay for the slot. Right now, I already have 3 people, and I think I have 6 slots for it, right? And this is a big opportunity because now any kind of business, any kind of entrepreneurship, things of that nature, they have opportunity to get a promo video by me, and then that's going to be running over the 5-minute interview with AZD for the promotion in the video, for the final product of the video as well. So there's a lot of value behind that. And, you know, I'm very happy to be doing that because that's something that I created on the spot. And I see how it's already working out. And a lot of people are already willing to pay for their slot to be having this promotion. And, you know, I'm going to make sure I keep killing it. And this is about growing in value. You know, that's something that I'm seeing for myself, is knowing how to grow in value with the skill set of creation. Okay, so just to move forward on the main points, like what I talked about being on time, also talked about having an order of operations, and also talk about something called staging. So these are things that we can look in our life to see, okay, well, what more can I plan better? What can I start staging? In other words, what can I start setting up for the next move, right? So when I get there, I don't have to scrabble too much. It's less of that. It's more premeditated, intentional energy to that next action that begins to stack and build on itself as it's moving forward. It's a different level of energy creation when you're moving forward with that alone, right? Being on time to your creations. You know, like me, like, man, it got to a point where like I like to show up late to certain things. So I just tell people, shit, listen, I'm not going to pull up until this time. Or what I've gotten better to do, because I practice social dynamics, I will show up early like I normally would, and I will just engage in the environment while I'm waiting. I would practice. That's how I practice. Right? Game is life, life is game. You got to know how to integrate your knowledge and what you're learning in your lifestyle. You know, it's always a practice in that. And then staging and having an order of operations. You got to know what is in order. You got to have a sense of order. Right? It's going to be, I mean, of course, there's times where shit's going to feel like everything's falling out of place. But I guarantee you, when you always find yourself in that position, you got to follow what's in order. What is working around you. There's always something working around you. And that's what the energy we got to start to tap into a lot more. So what's moving forward with Levels of Mastery? So I have the Instagram page on Levels of Mastery. I'm getting a lot of positive engagements with this. I'm getting a lot more than I thought, to be honest with you. So it won't be too long until I'll be building more people going on a Telegram. I did start a Patreon. I believe the Patreon is where I'm going to start separating the community, if you will. So because I believe on this community, I'm gonna have it mixed. I'm gonna have females and males in this levels of mastery. And then on the Patreon, I'm probably gonna have it closed. Because on there, you're gonna be able to have access to a lot of behind the scenes content that I'm just not gonna put on Instagram, because it's things that I've been able to, things that I've been able to have and have the access to that not everybody can have access to unless they're gonna, obviously have, pay for the access. So Patreon is there. The website is up. Levels of Mastery now is not just only on Tuesdays, it's also on Fridays. On Fridays, you'll get more in-depth of what I'm talking about here. I'm going to actually coach people and give people insights and actually have conversations with them so I can share with them how they can incorporate these ideas and tactics into their lifestyle and have them measure it for 7 days or 3 days, right? Anything that I'm going to willing to teach or go over with anybody, and that's on Fridays, right? So on Fridays, that's the added value to these live streams. Like on these live streams, I'm sharing just the awareness of these topics and ideas so people know what ideas are available. And then, of course, I give one opportunity for questions. But on Friday, everybody will have an opportunity to ask me whatever it is, and I will actually help them integrate these things into their lifestyle. That's the most important thing. It's one thing to be listening, right? I believe in a good book that says, don't be hearers of the word, be doers of the word, right? Just don't hear things that you always hear about. Be selective of what you listen to and apply shit, integrate it as soon as possible. All right, let go of the old self. Every day we are aware of what the old self looks like and what the future self looks like. It takes us to invest in that future self. And I'm here to encourage that as much as possible because I'm stepping in that every day. I cannot explain how I get the opportunities that I get outside of talking about what I'm talking about in these live streams, right? As everybody is a witness to my lifestyle, as you see on Instagram or however close you are with me based on conversation, right? So that's why it's my responsibility at this point to share it at the highest level that I can. And that's what I'm working on to do. But it takes, of course, whatever cooperation it takes from the next individual, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and close it out right there. I want to salute to everybody that made it to my live. I look forward to seeing you guys every Tuesday and every Friday, especially on Friday, so I can really help integrate a lot of these concepts that we learn, not only from myself, but what I learned from my mentor, AZD. And sharing exclusive behind the scenes. That's what I'm gonna be having on Fridays as well. Like right now, we just shot the event with the game show, very powerful game show. And I have a lot of behind the scenes that's exclusive content that will level up a lot of people's game or character, because just being there, the exposure of that was just next level. That's why we're doing it again. And of course, I have access to things that a lot of people don't have access to. So that's why on Fridays, I want you guys to take advantage of that since you guys are in the group. So salute to you guys. I want to make sure we keep up to that. Stay inspired. Y'all know the fucking vibe. Stay dangerous.